Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. And we approve the minutes of November 30th, 2022. Special Selectmen's meeting in December 1st, 2022. Selectmen's meeting,
Is that a motion?
yeah.
I
You gonna
second
second it? All in favor? Yeah, make a motion that we approve warrant 12 and payroll warrants of December 7th, 2022, and December 14th, 2022.
You mean you second it?
All in favor?
I have not had a chance to read the payroll warrants,
This
but
is
I'm gonna
the-
take your word for it.
No.
And I'm gonna say, yeah.
Well, so wait, then I can take a look. So.
I'll sign copies here so I don't take them home.
Good idea. And that way I won't have to worry about getting into the bookkeeping anymore.
Oh, no. I'm gonna lift that right up.
No. No, set them right back there and that's perfect.
The RSU 10 report. Anything, Richard?
Yes, I have a couple of things that came out of last Monday's meeting on the 14th. First off, it was reported at that meeting that Andover is in the process of becoming a disorganized territory, which, as I understood what the school board said, could take a year to a year and a half. Once they disorganize, they will no longer be, for whatever reasons, not all of which I'm aware of, will no longer be part of RSU 10, which would bring the RSU 10 down to 5 towns, Hartford, Sumner, Buckfield, Rumford, and Denmark, not Denmark, what is it? The other town that is over, where Walmart is over there.
They already approved.
I believe that's Mexico, if I'm not mistaken.
Mexico, that's what I'm trying to think of. I don't come close enough to the border, that's the trouble. But they said that this could take a year to a year and a half before this happens. If it does happen, there'll be those 5 towns, and there'll be, it would be 7 schools counting RSU 9, counting the 9 thing over there. But by that time, I think the new school will be in operation, and that'll cut that back to 5. But that was interesting. For whatever reason, Andover is deciding to become an unorganized territory. I was talking with Leanne about that, and Leanne said, well, for one thing, it's very difficult to find town clerks anywhere. So anyway, so that was of interest. The other thing that was a significance, was the naming of the new school. And that's long and complicated, and I won't even attempt to get into all of it. But the name that they were trying to get approved was Mountain Valley Community School. But one of the school board members had an objection to that, and so that was put on hold. What do they call it? Till next tabled till the meeting in January. It had to do with, they had 10,056 respondents when they put out information requesting a new school name. And I guess that if you add up the population of Rumford and Mexico, that's probably about 10% of the population, which I think is fairly good. But the gal that objected didn't think it was. So let's see. There was an issue about teachers having enough planning time, and that was discussed. And then there was a review of the hoaxes where they shut down all the schools, not RSU 10, but the other schools. There was a review about that. Then there was something about NWEA, which has to do with attendance and whether the students are doing, well, mainly whether the students are doing better. And it came up with all areas this year are better than the previous year. Attendance is better than last year all over, and so forth. And I guess that's about it. If you have a question, I'll try to answer it, but I only get.
If I could just interject, the WMEAs are the tests that kids take.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
For their progress in key areas.
Right. Well, that was also better than
standardized. Yeah.
Well, see, I'm glad you're here because I don't understand all of this stuff as well as I should. But anyway, yes, all of that and the attendance and it was all better than last year. And I think there was also fewer, less tardiness, not tardiness, but not coming to school, and also less punitive, less problems with the kids. And so overall, the school board was saying that things are better all the way around than they were a year ago.
Well, that's good. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. I think that's about everything I have to say about it.
Okay, road report. You see, the crew has completed tar patching on Darrington Road, Davenport, and Pratt Hill Road. We have graded and rock raked Mahoney Road, Tucker, and Dakin Lane, and the others will have to wait until spring since they run out of time. A culvert has been replaced on Cowett Road.
Yeah, the road's pretty well froze now. So.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes, it is.
And does he have anything to say for the complaint? Yeah, yeah.
I did.
Yep. Can we read that? Did he have a copy of this or did Mr. Howland? Okay, this is our winter road plowing policy that we have. The Board of Selectmen has adopted the.
So you want to clarify for anyone who's listening in what exactly is you're
You're
talking
referring
about?
to,
Yeah, you're launching into the policy without saying,
We had a complaint.
right,
Okay, we had a road complaint on Gurney Hill for plowing. And then this is a policy that the town has made up. 2006, it was put up.
well, it was amended in 2006. It was originally 2003.
Right, okay. Board of Selectmen has adopted the following policy on the clearing of winter roads so that all residents will have a clear understanding of the procedures that the road commissioner and plow contractor follow during and after a winter storm. The first roads to be cleared are routes 219 and 140, which are to be kept cleared during the entire storm. The next roads to be cleared are the high-traffic secondary roads such as Church Street, Perry Road, Town Farm Road. The next roads to be cleared are the low-traffic secondary roads. Finally, the roads that have only a few residents on them will be open. As these roads are cleared, Route 219 and 140 are kept open as are the high-traffic secondary roads. It is the intention of the Board of Selectmen and the Road Commissioner to open all roads as soon as is reasonably possible. When the storm is over, the plow contractor will widen roads and respond to any problem areas within 48 hours. Any road complaints or concerns should be directed to the town office during business hours, where all road complaints will be recorded at the town office in a book kept for the purpose.
And you still have such a book? You have it right with you. Yeah, there you go.
Any questions on that?
Yes, you've got the Hollermans on the line. We specifically submitted the complaint in regards to Gurney Hill Road. So what you're saying makes perfect sense from a storm cleanup perspective.
Yep.
Always primary roads, we fully understand that. Jim, do you want to give, because you were a little bit more involved from perspective on it?
Yeah, so we've been living there for 3 years now.
You live in
3
that
years.
residence?
What's that?
You're living in that residence?
I am there usually during the week, most Monday through Friday, and sometimes on the weekends. I'm going to go back to 2 weeks ago, Thursday or Wednesday. There was a storm. There was a little bit of a snowstorm. There was probably about 3 inches of snow up on that road. So I got down to where Ramsey Ludlow lives. I'm sure everybody knows where that's at. It was plowed to there, salted or sanded, whatever you want to call it, to there. And you could clearly see where the truck had turned around and gone back down the road. Didn't go any further than that. In the past 3 years,
Go
for
ahead.
the clearing and sanding and salting up to the graveyard, which to my understanding is, Hartford Township maintained roads and is supposed to be cleared to that point. We've
Okay.
had problems.
I can answer your question on that.
I just asked to speak too. Yeah.
On with first snowstorms, before the ground is actually froze, which I don't think the ground is froze back then.
That's correct.
They usually do not plow on our dirt roads.
But they did.
Until
They put
after the,
sand down too. So
Yeah, they
sand or
did.
whatever.
They did plow. They did sand,
yes. up to
and
the hours of rain.
it's partially paved. It's partially gravel up to her road or up to her house. Okay.
Mhm.
Was, let me see. Did they plow after the top of the hill where it's dirt?
No,
Right, they don't,
they didn't sand or salt or anything at that point.
no, you don't usually, go ahead, Lee.
Well, I just wanted to point out
Plowing,
that I live at the end of one of our gravel roads and with very few other residents on that stretch of road. And none of us got plowed with that first snowstorm because the roads weren't, well, the roads hadn't froze up yet. So I didn't get plowed out. It was 2 or 3 days of driving over that road. Of course, it was warm afterwards, so it all melted off and it went away.
now
Yeah.
I'm not sure what your elevation is on the roads that you're at. Where we live, it's the highest point in Hartford. We get a lot of wind up there. It was a sheet of ice.
Mhm.
All I'm asking
It is
for
icy.
is a little bit of sand or something to get traction.
Here's the thing also, ladies, you know, this last snow was probably the smallest I've ever seen up there. So that wasn't like hardly any snow, relatively speaking. But last year, as an example, it was awful, as you know. There was just a lot of snow, a lot of winds, a lot of drifts. It was just a nightmare. So I'm more concerned about that from an ongoing perspective and just having an alignment and an agreement that the township, secondarily, I get it, we're all fine with that, but the road gets plowed at least to the cemetery, and then we will cover the rest. But it shouldn't be up on us to take from Ramsey's place and plow and do the whole thing at our expense all the way to get to our house. And honestly, that's where we're just really super inconsistent. So I'm not sure if there's particular storms that they're like, I'm just not coming. That's kind of what happened last year. We had to get Michael, our property manager, to get Bim to do, because, you know, we got stuck up there basically. So we're just trying to understand, what is the rule and guidelines? We're secondary, right? To the cemetery.
I would
Is that
say,
the
I
general?
would say that qualifies as tertiary.
Tertiary. I'm good with tertiary. Tertiary for people up there, I get it. But to not show up at all when there's over 12, 15, 18 inches, to not have anybody ever come, that's our concern. That's like just, it's like they're just ignoring us. And I don't think that's intentional, but that's what's happening.
I don't think so.
I hope not, because I'm
I
like,
don't think
people,
it- I
and
don't
then
think it's intentional, and I guess I can understand why you think you're being singled out, but I actually don't think that's the case. People who live in remote areas sometimes have to wait and wait and
Well,
wait.
Waiting
wait's
is
not a
fine.
problem.
Yeah,
nobody
it's
shows up.
not
period.
addressing it that's the real issue here.
Because then it keeps getting more and more and more. Next thing you know, a week later, the second storm comes and it piles on top of that. So now we have double. It's not coming at all is the problem. Just not showing up.
And if you want, I will gladly take pictures and submit them dated time frames and timestamp so that you can see what I'm talking about. Because over the last 3 years, I've been very patient. I have run my patience to its limit at this point, and I'm just looking for some help.
All right, I'll tell you what, I'll keep an eye out.
Okay, I
And, you know,
appreciate
and-
that.
And
And
we can certainly relay this to the road commissioner, to the plow contractor, but, yeah, I have some familiarity of being up there during a bad storm, and, generally speaking, the road closes itself off at Ramsey's. And so it's no small thing, and I understand from the plow contractor's perspective, he's got quite a few trucks, but he can't afford to have one of his first line trucks get lost in a snowdrift when there's main roads and secondary roads to clear. So I guess, you know, it's hard to reckon with, I suppose, but sometimes those of us who live at the end of a dirt road somewhere are gonna have to wait until they're done with the rest of the roads.
We're
before-
okay waiting.
And that we're fine with, absolutely. It's just making sure that it does eventually get addressed.
Because it just keeps piling up on the snowstorm, the next one and the next one. And to not come up at all a week after it snowed substantially, that's just not okay. That's what we're trying to solve for. They just don't come, they'll stop at Ramsey's. They'll come up to Ramsey's, which is ironic. But us and the Gammons and everybody
And
else,
then it compounds the problems because then we don't get our garbage picked up and services to the home
Yep, yep.
taken care of, propane delivered, you know, it just compounds.
Mhm.
All right,
so you see
we'll,
what we're saying? We appreciate your help. But yeah, if you can talk to them, like we said, we will wait, but you got to show up at some point when you got 2 or 3 feet of snow.
We'll be sure
Okay.
and mention it.
I appreciate
We
that.
appreciate it. And if you guys need pictures, we'll bring you whatever we have to, but yeah, we can't run out of propane again or have problems with the truck getting there because the snow was stacked up so high. It melts and gets again, it melts again, and it just caused us a lot of pain points last year.
And we have actually spent thousands, over $10,000 in that hill by the cemetery, our own cost, to make that a better road for access. And I mean, that's, you know, something we did on our own just because we know that, you know, it's an issue.
We want it
It's a
nice.
small town. We want it accessible. But, you know, these are things that we do trying to help. We're just looking for a little bit of help on the town's end too.
Yep, okay, we hear you.
All
Thank
right,
you.
thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks, ladies. Bye.
Bye. Where was we? Road report, okay.
Yeah, I didn't think they wanted, when they mentioned trash pickup, I don't think they wanted to hear that my whole neighborhood
Yeah.
doesn't get curbside trash pickup either. So,
Constable report. Nothing. Yep, nothing. CEO. ACO.
We had 66 people show up for the rabies clinic.
Wow.
Vaccination, so it's not as many as last year, but it's still good.
Still quite a bit, I
And
think.
somebody needs a response. They contacted me today about that complaint.
Oh, right. Well, I want to talk about that tonight because I need to know. From what I
well,
was told by
now
our-
is the time because the ACO is on the
And I need
agenda.
to spell out.
So I spoke with, after a couple of phone calls, I spoke with Ronnie, and she's telling me that there is no space whatsoever at Responsible Pet Care.
Sorry. I called them today. They said they do take strays. They will find a place for them. They will not take people dropping animals off to donate or to, give up.
Surrender.
Find
Yeah.
homes.
Right. Well, she's.
They are still taking.
So she's telling me that she is called and on 3 different occasions to bring pets, cats, whatever, that we've been, that they have no room and they're at 115% capacity. And that, so she feels because, and there's another, I haven't read our contract, so I don't know, but who else besides Responsible Pet Care?
Responsible Pet Care said they will take them. I just talked to them.
Do you want me to tell you what she told me? Okay. I don't disagree with you. I'm just sharing what she said, because I need a clarification.
That's all we need.
So she's also saying that she did say that she would get back to the person that made the complaint if something changed, but nothing has changed, so therefore she's not gotten back to them to tell them that she could come get the cat. On another part of that conversation, animal control officer stated that if someone finds a cat or a kitten or whatever, and they catch it or take it in, her job is to capture that animal, to trap that animal. So if a resident has already trapped that animal, then it's no longer her responsibility to pick that animal up and bring it to Responsible Pet Care. Or she mentioned another shelter that doesn't take animals anymore that she thought was in our contract. But again, at the time, I had not read through the contract. I just thought we had Responsible Pet Care as our only animal.
I believe that is the
refuge.
case. I believe that is the case at this time.
So
We had a local,
we had quite the
we had a
conversation, but
local
I,
kennel,
Yeah.
but we don't have a local kennel anymore.
one of the informational things she shared is that the only way Responsible Pet Care would let her bring off a cat before they were at 115%, they're at 100%, was if she left the pet container there with the animal and donated, I guess, that to Responsible Pet Care is what she's saying. Leave the pet and the carrier and just walk away from the animal, even though it doesn't have a cat box or food in there because they're so full. So, and of course, I'm just stating what she told me.
Hmm.
And when I asked her if I thought, because of the contracts that they had to take animals, she said not if they're at full capacity, so. So that's the information I got. I'm happy to respond to David, but I didn't want to do that to the complainant because I didn't know what our contract said and whether what I was being told was accurate.
No, my understanding is we don't have a contract with the animal control officer. Our contract is, of course, with Responsible Pet Care. But, yeah, somehow it didn't sound quite right to me.
I'd rather have the animal already trapped, and just go pick it up. I wouldn't mess
Well-
with it, trying to catch it.
Well, because if people, I mean, if the cat's coming around and it's easy enough for somebody to catch, then they might just well catch it rather than the town spend her time and money, her time and our money to have her
Right,
show up
and-
and try to trap a cat that is basically
And
wild, but coming in the barn. See, if
Right.
somebody's got a barn, this has happened to be stable where the cat was coming in the barn.
Yep. I mean, we
And
actually
wasn't
adopted
just
a
a-
cat that
and-
somebody
and-
left down
and
at Bear
do I
Pond.
recall-
I
do
would
I
definitely pick
recall-
up a kitten and,
About this, that
Yeah.
it wasn't just a cat, it was like a mother cat with kittens, or that they were kittens. Might have been a litter of kittens, I don't know, in any case. You know, they are cats that run wild are definitely an invasive species, and they sure do increase. And that's part of the 115% capacity,
Mhm.
and
You good, Sue? Okay,
well, thanks for doing that.
no problem. I'm just
I'm
wondering
just
how
not
I
sure-
should respond to our person
To
that
the
made the
complainant?
complaint. Because as you just mentioned, you called there and they said they could take the animal.
They said that they did say it may have to stay in carrier, but they will not refuse an animal from the ACO.
So who provides that carrier?
I didn't ask that.
I would think the ACO would.
But they're not gonna get it back.
Why not?
Well, if the animal has to stay in the carrier.
Well, not forever. Just put her name on.
I'm
Yeah,
just
I
looking
mean,
for clarification.
Well, you know, it's,
Are we
it's,
gonna give her a bunch of carriers to bring over there when animals?
well, it's a
need
good,
it?
it's a good question. At one time, we had some carriers, but in the past, most of the time, the carriers have belonged to the animal control officer, who would ride around with them in the back of the truck or whatever
Right.
as needed.
Right,
And,
So I'm happy to call the complaint, and I just want to have a good solution or.
well,
And
there
then
you
I'm
go.
being
You-
told
if you-
because they
if
already
you
have the
call-
cat, that they
if-
can't, she can't. come
If you
get it.
call the complainant,
Yep.
if you call the complainant, all you're gonna say is, oh, well, sorry. She
Right.
says she can't take it, which she's already, you know, I mean,
Right, so hence the reason why. I'm
you know,
asking
so I can
select
see
board.
why, it's, you know, I don't know, it seems to me that we have to, you know, we should settle on
tell them to go get the
What-
cat.
what what the expectations are. Because, you know, if somebody has caught a cat, now, there was a time when if you caught a cat that was coming around and you fed it, I believe at one time, and you can probably correct me because you were animal control, if you were feeding that cat for, I believe it was 3 days. If you've been feeding that cat for 3 days, it's your cat now. Unless
about-
somebody comes around and says, hey, wait a minute, that's my cat, and you,
What about taking it to the cat advocate they have one in
are there
Buckfield.
cat advocates, feral cat advocates? You know, that is certainly
take 'em.
one of the options, and I don't know if our animal control officer works with that. So, you know, I think that, you know, at some point we have to determine whether this is acceptable to, well, I want to say to the board, but, you know, to the townspeople, that if some cat comes around and they don't want it, is it the individuals, once you've taken the cat in and fed it and got it a little bit healthy, is it then your responsibility to take that cat to the shelter if you don't want it? Or is it in fact the animal control officer's job? Well, I fed this cat and caught it. Now come get this cat because I didn't really want it.
The Humane Society used to take cats with no questions asked. I don't know if they still do down in Providence.
It seems so. You know, I see a head shaking over here. Yes.
Sorry, just from experience, Anderson County Animal Shelter will take us because we're awesome. So going to the animal shelters, Turner qualifies, but we're an officer.
Tony.
Is that something
You
you
can
do?
surrender.
'Cause I used to, I've done it before.
She was animal control officer at one time.
But I took my own cat from Hartford years ago and they put that that was a while ago.
That was a while ago, when Ranger Rick, Rick Houghton was animal control officer. He used to take cats down there all the time. Went someplace else with dogs, but we took cats down there.
It was about 7 years ago that I tried, I was turned down. Because I took it to because it was hard. You have to show your license. I think they got more strict about it.
Probably. Yep.
As an adult.
I'm sure.
So they turned it down.
One of the
Well,
ACO's
makes sense.
concerns was that she doesn't want to go pick up personal pets and bring them like they're feral animals. She said that some people call her and basically want her to bring,
Right, they no longer want their pet and therefore will call the animal control officer and let that person take care of it. You know, and that is certainly something that might happen.
so I think on my side, we need to educate our community on what we're gonna allow and how to utilize the animal control officer. I mean, if I saw a little kitten that was crying and mewing and looked like it needed food, I would pick up that little kitten. Not that nobody send me any, but I would feed it, because I wouldn't know any better.
Well,
I would
nobody
be like
send
that
me
Well,
poor
any.
thing.
we know where to drop them off now.
That would be my question, is what does,
Where does she live so you can drop off a kitten?
No, we already have a cat.
What
It's
do-
not my cat.
what does the select board and the town expect the animal control officer to do?
Well, there's laws.
And I think that's all we really want is for the laws to be followed. And so I don't know if she is actually following the letter of the law here or what. Now, it does make sense. At first, when you say this, it sounds like,
It does say that in the law. It doesn't say a lot about it, but it does say that the animal control must go trap the cats or whatever.
but if they've been trapped by somebody
They said
else's,
or
has,
residents can take stray cats to a shelter themselves.
well, you know, maybe what
Otherwise, you just,
maybe what would make it easier for you in crafting a reply, I'm assuming rather than call, you probably send a text message or an email or something like that. I'm just, I don't know what you had in mind. But before you do communicate with the complainants in any sense, maybe you want to read that statute. So you have it down
I'll
to a
look at it
science
before I-
and,
yeah.
and be able to say, well, you know, unfortunately, according to MRSA chapter, you know, title 30A, blah, 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 whatever it is,
Gotcha.
Mhm.
this is the case. You
Go
know,
from there.
if you take the cat in and feed it for a while, then it's no longer considered a feral cat to be trapped. It's a cat that has been tamed and therefore you get to take it yourself.
Well, I will go read that statute and craft a great reply.
I think you'll do great.
Okay,
Great.
But maybe if anyone in the community, and we could even post that, if we were able to find some carriers that people are throwing away or whatever, if we clean them, it might be something for the ACO to use and not feel like she's using her own, because she says she's still missing a couple.
That's
dropped off.
probably true.
Yeah.
And they do turn up from time to time. I guess I saw actually it was a cardboard cat carrier at the swap shop the other day. Had holes along the top and had a picture of a cat on the side.
Hmm.
You know, but you know, the other thing is if we had a few extra cat carriers around, we could offer them to residents who need to transport some
Mhm.
feral cat, because that is one of the things. If you get a barn, people drop off cats.
Oh, I know, I'm friends with. the
I had
farmer.
somebody drop off a mother cat that still had her kittens one time. It's like,
This kitten's
Yeah.
always running down Harlow Hill Road, crossing the farm field.
They get fewer and fewer, my daughter keeps hitting them. We run across the road.
It shouldn't say like slow children, it should say slow kitties crossing.
you know, honest to God, cats, they will, yeah. Cats and deer, they make
Okay.
split-second decisions at the worst possible
One
moment.
goes under the wheel, one goes over the wheel.
Tell me about it.
Okay, number 6, planning board report. We got anything with them? Nothing? Ordinance committee?
They haven't met yet.
Nope. Fire warden?
And when
Nothing.
is the next ordinance committee meeting?
Next week, third Wednesday of the month.
Next Wednesday?
Yep.
Thanks for that.
You're welcome. I checked because I thought it was yesterday. The first fell on Thursday.
No fire warden report. Treasurer report. Yeah.
We set the expectation that all of the people holding positions like the fire warden and EMS, the emergency person, that we would like to have some sort of update every month, even if it says there are no updates, I'm still working on this,
Or nothing to
Just-
report. Well,
or
you know,
just so that we know that they are reporting
We
and they are
have.
doing their job.
we have, I don't know if our new fire warden has heard anything from us about it. And I don't know that we've been expecting from, yeah, we did. We asked Clarence to
Yep.
to check in with us and let us know what's going on. I'm not sure if Baxter has heard from us and does anybody know?
I
if
don't
he-
know if I mentioned it to him.
Yeah, so maybe that's something we should ask him to check in with us. If not, you know, if not every month, at least
But even
every
if
other,
they-
so we know.
If they were in the routine of
There's
reporting. every
Probably
month.
not much going on this time of year.
No, right.
I called him to have a bonfire in the middle of last month and it just rained plenty and he said, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
And he said, I don't think the fire danger is too high right now. I said, I don't suppose so. But on the other hand, if I wouldn't call for permission, how can I expect other people in town to do it?
Right, exactly. How many people did you say have the rabies? Not the people, how many people brought their animals to rabies? clinic?
66.
$66.
That's pretty-
Last year, I think it was 90.
All
Is that a
dogs,
shot
all
that has to
dogs,
be done
not
every
cats
year?
at all?
No. The first one's for 1 year, the next one's for 3 years. But there was 3 rabies clinics around within a few months.
Yeah.
I think some.
Right, and I saw
one
the,
little-
is it responsible vet care? I can't remember. Somebody's holding a free spay, not free, but low-cost spay and neuter clinic.
Sweet, could be Tractor Supply, they, well, they probably.
No,
wouldn't do
it's
that 'cause they
definitely
have
not-
their Vehicle,
Definitely not
Mobile
Tractor
vehicle.
Supply.
I know they do some stuff.
They do shots. Holy Moses, that's quite an outstanding check for the town of Canton. What
I
is up
called
with that?
them.
What
Your
is up with
deputy-
that?
I called her this week. She said the deputy clerk quit and she just found that check on December 2nd on the deputy clerk's desk in a folder. So she deposited.
She was like over $6,000, almost $6,200. It's like, okay, so it has been deposited. It's like,
Yeah.
wow. That's kind of outstanding. I mean, you know, the Bureau of Motor Vehicles, that's all fairly recent, so I wouldn't think much of it, but. Then there's a couple of $25 and $30 checks that people have ignored since all afterwards. Man. Oh, okay, well. Missing. What?
I explained that last week, just when Sue asked.
Oh, yeah, okay.
There's transfers in and out of the checking account to the sweep account for to raise more money, investment. And there's always 1 or 2 that doesn't hit the checking account. One side of the transaction.
It looks like significant. You
you have to transfer, does it automatically sweep
It will next month.
when it gets to a certain level, it just
Yep, automatic.
moves it over? That'd be a great level for me to be at. I had just had so much money in the bank, it just,
Yeah.
invested
It would
for
just,
me.
it would just sweep.
Yeah, it doesn't sweep.
Forget the initial of that.
Since it's a sheet, more interest on it.
Like everywhere. Oh, good old Northeast Bank, I'm so. I really had it up to here with them. I mean, first they moved out of my community. And
Yeah.
then I went on the website and it says 3.75%. So I thought, well, you know, that's some money that's earning
Better.
0.3 or 4%. It's like, oh, great, Will, so I will, you know, I'll move that money. Oh, no, that's only for new money. If they've already got your money, they're not interested.
That's
It's
just
like-
old money.
But it's like, hello? You know, why would I even keep my money in your bank at all?
Calendar reminders, the town office will be closed December 26th and January 2nd
Fair
for the
enough.
holidays. Mhm. The unfinished business.
Racing right along here.
Number one.
Did he ever get his license signed?
No. Junkyard license update with Mr. Harlow. Nope, he still hasn't moved two
Yeah.
pieces of equipment, and I understand he's got one piece halfway there. I figured that piece he was probably waiting for the ground to freeze.
Which, as noted earlier, it has.
Right.
Yep, and the other one, I understand he made a comment that he wasn't gonna move it, that it was in nobody's way, and he had no intentions of moving it. So Scott and I rode up this afternoon. But of course, there
I
was
have a
nobody,
comment.
nobody there.
Well, they're moving vehicles, they're moving things in and out, because we have pictures of what's going in and out of the, um,
Brenda,
going in and out of there.
Okay, that one is parked up where the trucks that he just all moved in there, and it's still parked up there.
All moved in there, right, but not in the junkyard, just sitting on the road.
Right,
And then that's one that just came in.
so she sent that picture to you?
Mhm.
Or you getting a phone call?
you forward that to me?
I can, yeah.
Because you had a picture you showed that was a little,
Yeah,
It wasn't-
it was that one with the bus, and that hasn't entered the junkyard.
you showed me a picture that looked like it was all, what do you call it, like ductwork or something like that, some other
Yes.
kinds of junk.
Do you think we should have legal counsel?
I don't
We need
know
to
what
send a
the heck
cease
we
and
should do with
desist.
it.
Well, you know, I
Cease and
mean,
desist letter until he gets his things in order. He shouldn't be
yeah, you know
operating.
something, I think you're right. Whether we go for legal counsel to do the cease and desist letter, I don't know. I mean, I don't necessarily want to see it cost us a giant bundle. I mean, if it costs us $171 for them just to read something from the auditor, for God's sake.
Yeah.
You know,
That's still parked up on
Right.
side the road.
oh, yeah, that's what you showed me. And I said, what the hell is that? And you said, oh, probably ductwork or something. I'm telling you.
I'm just thinking if we,
I have a comment and a question.
Go ahead.
Well, I understand from very good authority hey, that there's more stuff done around there now than there was when this permitting issue started coming up.
Yeah,
That's my comment, and it's from a lady that we all well know, who I won't mention, but is on very good authority. And then my question is, should this not ever get?
Excuse me, would you repeat that? I missed that. It's from a lady we all know?
Yes. So it's very good authority that it's on very good authority that I make the comment that there's more stuff there now than there was before. Now, oh, I see Brenda popped up here. My question is, if this never
Brenda-
ends
Brenda
up
is
getting
the name,
resolved
the
and a
Harlow.
permit is never issued, who does the select board call to enforce the, well, basically the getting rid of the whole thing?
Well, that's what
Who
we'll
is
discuss it.
it the sheriff's department, or who do you call? Who does?
Well, I think in any event, the only place we can start is with our code officer, although the code officer has every right to go there with the sheriff if he thinks it's a good idea. But I think that Susan hit the nail on the head when he said, cease and desist letter is in order, because, I mean, what is it, has it been 6 weeks yet since we met here with him?
Go ahead, Leanne.
But we never, I mean, he was at the meeting when you guys told him what needed to be done, but there's nothing on paper except. for the
Right, we've
minutes.
just been up and
I
look,
think,
look.
I think we should be doing better, certified letters.
Yeah.
Legal counsel, if you're gonna. continue with
Right.
this, you wanna enforce it.
I mean, I don't see what choice we have.
The reason for my question is it just, at this point, doesn't seem as though he has an intention of complying.
No, it sure doesn't.
For next.
Go ahead, Brenda.
Well, I mean, I agree with Richard. I mean, I live next to this and there's been no movement. There's been, if anything, there's been more stuff coming in. And I know, because I'm home all day, so I see all this. And we just had to move some stuff when Kathy came out and measured with Scott, when he was within 300 feet of my well. And he did initially move that stuff the middle of November. But now he's parked a large truck with a very large amount of, it looks like stuff that he might scrap at some point, but that's been sitting there a week now. Then we've got all the other stuff that's sitting right off the right of way. There's probably 7 trucks there. There's a couple old campers. There's the harvester that doesn't have the tracks on it. I mean, there's definitely stuff that's not operational by any shape of the imagination. And the ground is frozen, so I feel like we could take action on it if we wanted to, but
I don't see how we have any choice.
I think the big truck that's parked off to the side there with all the junk in it, I think why he's not moving that yet is because he doesn't have the permit yet to enter into the junkyard itself. And
right.
that harvester, I think he is waiting, I don't know, either for the ground to freeze or he might have another excuse on that.
Yeah, well, I just feel like this is going on and on. I mean, this started for us back in like 2007 when he purchased the property, which actually isn't in his name, which is the other caveat of this. It's in a different woman's name that she says she signs off on him doing whatever he wants to with the land. But to Richard's point, when it doesn't get cleaned up, I mean, whose lap does that fall on? I mean, she's got a piece of paper saying she told him he could do whatever he want, but at the end of the day, the deed is in her name. So this is her land.
That's correct.
So maybe when we communicate, we send certified letters to both the landowner and.
Well, I think
Mr.
we did initially, no?
Yep, Scott. did.
So I guess my question is, and maybe this is for, maybe we really do need to secure counsel on this topic.
To do it correctly.
Because the
Yeah.
fact of the matter is, the person who maybe ought to be charged with all this is not Harlow, who is clearly a scofflaw, particularly when it comes to scoffing at us. And maybe it should be this woman who, frankly, I don't like to see somebody who's really not involved at all get tangled up, but she's involved enough to own the property that he's trashing.
I'm not sure if I mentioned I called the Turner town manager
I spoke with him too.
about this topic. And basically, he said that every time that they move, if they complain about something, it could be 3 things, he moves one. And then you've got a prod, and more comes on, and then he moves one piece of, just enough to say that he's doing it, and then it takes several calls and people stopping in.
That's
and-
what he's doing here.
Maybe a certified letter sent to both the lady owner and him saying, and including in there what the select board might decide to do if there isn't some compliance.
And we need a deadline, be cut and dry. This is what has to get done, this is by the time, and until that
And
time,
if we can
you don't bring any. more
shut him
junk on
down.
property. Yeah. And no more stuff even coming on the property, I wouldn't think. He's way
Well,
over-
I mean, I feel like there ought to be a timeline to this, because if not, I really do feel like this is gonna go on and on.
Definitely.
And I don't feel like becoming compliant is something that's on his list of things to do. I just don't, because I watch what he does. And I've been watching all this stuff come in for years. I mean, he had a recycling permit, yes, which I disagree with because I was never notified, and neither were any of the other abutting property owners, that he was even applying for the permit, which was part of the state statute, but he doesn't keep a logbook. I watch so much stuff come in here on a daily basis for the last 7 or 8 years, and maybe one truckload like every other month go out. That's not a typical recycler's business. There's something wrong with that. And, if anything, it's sending the wrong message that, oh, well, you can go to Hartford, Maine,
Yep.
and you can do whatever you want. And I don't, as a community member, I don't want that. As a taxpayer, I don't want that.
Yep.
Well, that's why I brought this up, because it seems to me that there has to be some endpoint to this. I agree with Brenda. It can't just go on and on and on. Now, I didn't realize that it went back to 2007, but how many years is that? 7 from 12. That's 15, almost 16 years that it's been some sort of an issue, and it needs to be dealt with and ended.
Yeah, it's gone on too long, and he's had it pretty easy.
Do we know if our CEO has provided him with that logbook? That he was gonna provide him with a log?
Waiting.
So he never came to get the logbook.
This is his permit and everything he needs to do, but he had to move those vehicles first.
Mhm.
Looks like he's moved a lot of vehicles, but not the ones that he was specifically told to move.
Right.
Well, okay, so I'd like to.
There's only 3 pieces of
Okay,
vehicles.
so I'd like to move this topic along, but I'll make a motion. I move that we contact the town attorney.
Yeah, I agree
I'm
with you.
sorry to say, it would be nice if we could use our retainer with Maine
I
Municipal
agree.
Association, but this is not one of those kind of issues.
I agree
I
with
don't
you.
believe.
So
We-
contact him.
We could start with the Maine Municipal Association and ask them what they think we should do, but I'm pretty sure that they're gonna end up telling us to contact the town's
Yes.
attorney. Do we want to wait until we've met again in the first of the year, or do we want to just say, let's contact the town's attorney to,
I think we need to contact the attorney.
Yeah.
I think so.
Otherwise, it's gonna be another
Because,
whole,
because,
almost a month.
I've worked with Maine Municipal Association for almost 20 years now. And I know the kind of stuff they're good at and the kind of stuff that they will just
Right.
say, whoop, nope, that's not the kind of
Yeah.
stuff we do. You need to contact the town's attorney. And I suspect that this is one of those
Yeah.
things.
You say your motion again, 'cause you went on
I'm
too
sorry.
long.
So I move we contact the town attorney regarding this issue.
I second it. All in favor?
There you go.
So you want to actually contract with the attorney, you want him to take this case, or just ask him some questions?
I think that maybe we should ask some questions first before we dive in with both feet, because we don't necessarily want to clean out our legal account. My
So
sense, pardon?
Table till next meeting?
I think that we contact them, we do a Zoom call or connect and move forward.
Yeah, I think a phone call would work.
Yeah.
Just to see how they recommend we move forward with this.
And
I
then
mean,
move
of
forward.
course, their recommendation might have a lot to do with wanting to get more money in their coffer. Sure
It's not
enough,
gonna be cheap.
but it's not gonna be cheap no matter what happens. The
help
kind of questions I would think we'd want to ask them is, okay, so how should we best approach this fellow? Could be, what a lot of people do with their lawyers, say, would you please write this fellow a cease and desist letter from the town
Well,
so-
first
that
off,
comes
I'm
from
gonna
the
have to
attorney?
Send them all of this. Have them review it, which is gonna cost money,
Oh, yeah.
and then his recommendations on what to do next. But I don't wanna
Probably.
start something and you guys say, no, never mind, it costs too much.
Well, there you
No.
go. So, but
We
you know,
have to
so,
take care of this. We can't just bury our heads.
you
in the
know, I
sand.
mean, that's a little bit like having the doctor find a cancer and saying, well, it's gonna be pretty expensive. I don't really want to deal with this, so let's pretend it's not really going on.
And we'll
You
take
might
one-
be better off to
Yeah.
just deal with it.
Just we have to. Is
Yeah,
that,
right.
Well, I say rip the Band-Aid off.
Excuse me?
I said, I say rip the Band-Aid off myself, but I mean,
Well,
I've
there
been
you
living
go.
next to them.
There you
and-
go. So my thinking is that if Mr. Harlow is not in compliance with the state junkyard standards, and if he has, he's, basically violated our orders to
Failed to.
get his act together,
Compliance.
if he is continuing to operate in the absence of a permit, which he hasn't had since when, October? Excuse me. That, this is the case where, we might have to end up taking him to court. That is not gonna be cheap. On the other hand, in theory at least, Mr. Harlow would have to end up paying for our attorney. On the other hand, you can't draw blood from a rock. So,
Exactly. Well, and that's my concern is where he has 3 properties in the town of Hartford that are not even in his name. That is where he's got a loophole.
Now, the application has the applicant's name and then the landowner's name, so I think that's allowed.
no, that probably is allowed. On the other hand, so the question is, who is the miscreant here? Is it the property owner who's allowing this to happen? Or is it Mr. Harlow who is,
So my thought is, the town should send a letter anyway, even though we're gonna talk to our attorney. We should send a certified letter and either a copy be dropped off so that we know he's got it. It just says, we are approaching our attorney, you have failed to comply. These are the things we expected you to be done, and this is the date we asked you to do it. And
so just to, okay,
Just so
so
they
we
know
have a
that we're
motion on the
moving.
floor that will very readily die with, for lack of a second. But perhaps the best move for us at this point is for one of us on the board to call Maine Municipal Association and let them know exactly what's going on and get their advice as to which way we should go. They may tell us, oh, you have to contact the town's attorney, but they may be able to outline for us what some of our options are.
I already have a call into them today, so when they call me back,
When she calls you back, maybe you can say, oh, by the way, there's another thing.
Yeah.
And she may say, I'm solid, I'm not gonna be able
unless
to talk
somebody else
about
wants
this
to
right
make a
now.
second call, I mean, if I already
Go
got
ahead.
her
You're
calling,
good.
got her ear, I'll
All
just
right,
keep going.
So do you want to rescind your motion?
No, you can just
No.
die for lack of a second. So
Second.
it's only a motion if it gets seconded.
Kathy seconded. I have down that Kathy seconded it.
Oh, you did, she did, okay.
in favor?
This is on contacting the attorney.
Mhm.
Yes, yeah,
So we're doing,
Well-
want me to wait?
Well, no, because if we agree tonight that that we would contact the attorney, then even if the attorney doesn't get contacted immediately until after somebody has called MMA and got some advice on how to move forward, then at least we've approved contacting the attorney. We don't have to wait 2 weeks in order
Yeah,
to
but I
approve.
have- It's gonna take me a lot of work to get everything
Together.
sent to the attorney, everything in order.
Meanwhile, she'll
and
have-
copy
Are
the
you,
info.
are you planning to call the attorney?
Yes, I'm gonna call
Would you-
tomorrow and
okay.
follow up with
Okay,
our
so
first
you're
topic
gonna,
and then.
right, you're gonna talk to MMA anyhow
Mhm.
and ask. And then, once you have a little advice on how to move forward,
Mhm.
we have to, we will have to get a whole bunch of, this stuff together to send to the attorney. Mhm.
All right, so wait until I hear from Sue.
I'm gonna talk to, I'm gonna call tomorrow till I picks up the phone and
There you
talks to
go.
me.
There you go.
I'm in the office. It's gonna be snowing.
That's right. It's a good
They'll
day.
just be waiting for me to call, if they don't call me first, but.
Okay. Open session. Anybody got anything? Anybody on Zoom?
Yes, I have a question that I think Lenny may have some input on. Not that it's that critical, but Lenny, what do you think will happen with the students that live in Andover? If this thing with them becoming a disorganized territory goes through?
I believe the word is unorganized, not disorganized.
Well, disorganized, whatever the proper name is, like the ones up north is what I
Right,
understand.
unorganized territories.
If they
Unorganized.
aren't,
UT
if
is what
they,
the county calls it.
if they
I
are
don't
out of
know.
a, if they are out of a district because of becoming an unorganized territory, then the kids have a choice of any school in the area. And
I
no
don't know
school-
if, I don't know if Andover has an actual school themselves or if they are paying RSU 10 to take the kids into Rumpert and so forth. I don't know how that's working right now even.
Aren't they part of Telstar?
I don't even.
I'm not sure
I don't-
about that, but in any case, it's not necessarily the business of the town of Hartford.
No, it's not, but
We will
I don't
be
even know
affected
what
if another town-
Telstar is.
If another town opts out, we'll undoubtedly be affected with greater costs, presumably, but what Andover does is what Andover does. And there's
Well,
not, much-
I was just wondering what happened to the kids in
Well-
that case.
I couldn't tell you.
Anybody else have anything?
Brenda still has her hand up, but I think.
Brenda, is your hand still up? Brenda?
It's not.
Nothing.
Brenda's hand is still up,
No,
But-
I'm good.
You're
Okay,
good? Okay.
Great, thanks.
Well, I do want to add one thing. So
Oh,
in my
please.
many calls about my issue next door, I had spoke to Lisa Keem's office and they had shared with me a similar situation in the town of Rome, where the town of Rome had to have somebody up there clean up a parcel of land that had a similar situation going on. I don't know if that would help you guys in this. To find out, maybe touch base with the town of Rome and their select board to see what they did to handle this situation.
Yeah, where the heck is Rome? Is it anywhere near Vienna?
It's part of Oxford County, I know that.
Rome is in
Right.
Is it over
Oxford
by
County?
Denmark?
No,
I think
I'm
so.
thinking not. I mean, I'll take.
It
your
may
word.
be Franklin.
Yeah, you can tell by, if you go on Google and type in Rome, Maine, it'll show you a map and show you where it is. I could do that, but I'm afraid if I leave here, I'm not gonna get back, so,
Same.
but
But-
I do that all the time, looking for places all around the world and when I'm reading all the books I read. And I'm forever finding where places are, like Ithaca in Italy and so forth. And it only takes a second or two to Google Rome, Maine, and find out where it is.
But it may be a good place to at least gather some information if, you know, you chose to reach out to that town just to see how they handled a similar situation.
History
Mhm.
loves company. We can see if they solve theirs.
No,
and-
actually, you know, that actually seems like a really good idea, and
Yeah.
thank you for that. Yeah, I would actually recommend that one of us calls the town manager, you know, and using the
Select board, right.
Assuming there's a town manager,
Right.
but if there's a town manager that supersedes, doesn't necessarily supersede the select board, but that's the
Maybe I'll do
person,
some of
that
those
would be
calls
the
next week.
contact information.
Yep.
You get an office day, you can do that, right?
Thank you. New
Beautiful day
business,
and snow.
post office resident.
Okay,
complaint.
well, I'll tell you, I have an update about that.
You do.
And yes, I do have an update about that. I know the select board and the town office received a copy of the letter.
What letter are you talking about?
Yeah, you did.
What letter?
What
You
letter?
You didn't, I sent it to all of you.
I remember seeing an email from you.
Oh, come on,
I didn't see a letter.
you didn't? I can't imagine that. Well, okay. I wrote a letter. Hang on.
You wrote a letter.
Isn't there like a song?
For mail,
Did she mail it? No wonder we
How's
don't
that
have.
go? Stop. Wait a minute, Mr. Postman. Wait. Yeah, Mr. Postman.
I don't have nothing.
You need a guitar.
Now, this was
Guitar.
This is kind of crazy. I'll give you each a copy of this letter. Here's one from here. Let's see it. So on or about, let's see if I can find a copy of the, yeah, on or about the 11th of November, it wouldn't have been the 11th because that was a holiday, but right about then, people in my neighborhood received this letter from the United States Postal Service. Dear valued customer, as you may have noticed, your mail carrier is now driving a postal van. Unfortunately, it's rear-wheel drive, and winter roads will be challenging. Your road has a history of being especially treacherous in the snow and ice. To avoid putting your carrier at risk, the Postal Service is requesting that you and your neighbors move your mailboxes out to the opposite edge of Stetson Road. The ground is not yet frozen, and now would be a good time to do this. Once it snows, your mail will not be delivered down Labrador Pond, Moses Young, or LaFoy. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me at my administrative office in South Paris. Olivia A. Wade, postmaster for South Paris, West Paris, Paris, Hebron, and Sumner. Well, so some neighbors, the people in my neighborhood got together and with a little help drafted this letter. Dear Ms. Wade, we, the undersigned Hartford residents, received your undated letter regarding home delivery of our mail on Labrador Pond, Moses Young, and LaFoy roads. Please consider this formal notice that we would not be moving our mailboxes. As an aside, I was advised this by 2 residents who are former postmasters. Don't move those boxes. You'll never get your home delivery again. We will continue to expect delivery at our home mailboxes. This has always been the case whenever the roads are clear or plowed and sanded. We have long been supporters of the Postal Service, and we understand that our postal carrier will take no undue risks to deliver to our mailboxes when the roads are unsafe. The unfortunate USPS choice of vehicles that are not ideal for winter driving in our region is a concern. Needless to say, snow tires would help to ensure the carrier's safety, even on paved roads. A number of us have lived in this neighborhood long-term who have never owned all-wheel or four-wheel drive vehicles. And we have always managed to drive on these roads when it is plowed and when it is not. It's important to recognize that these roads are public and maintained by the town of Hartford. Our roads continue to be accessed as always by USPS competitors such as FedEx, UPS, and others with their rear-wheel drive vans. We also enjoy delivery from other services such as heating oil, propane delivery, weekly trash pickup, and more. Okay, admittedly, the trash does not get picked up from our houses, but nonetheless. Then there's the school bus, which carries the most valuable cargo of all. They respect our winter weather with snow days and occasional 1-hour delays. We've always expected the postal service to do the same, but we expect when the road is passable for the other services that the post office will honor its obligation to deliver our mail as it has in the past. Thank you in advance for your understanding, signed by all of the people on the above roads. So I thought I'd sent a copy of this to the Hartford Select Board, but it was also sent to Senator Susan Collins and Angus King. And not necessarily to the others listed there, but still waiting to hear anything useful from Senator Collins, but Angus King's office took hold of this. I spoke with a woman, Sarah Grettinger, I think was her name. And I spoke with her on Thursday. On Friday, our mail was delivered. On Saturday, our mail was delivered. The next Monday, our mail was delivered. Tuesday, our mail was delivered. After this Friday, well, you know, all bets are off until the road is cleared, but you know, and we don't expect it to be cleared first thing because we are not one of the frontline roads. You know, we are one of the tertiary
So
roads.
did you get all your mail from back in November?
Oh yeah, I had to go to the post office and pick up mail. And of course, by that time, I'd actually missed some deadlines.
They won't deliver
This is
our
like-
roads either. We have to have all of our mailboxes. At the
Well,
end.
I think it's not necessarily something for the select board to deal with, but I think it's important for people in town to realize that that the post office is trying to cut people who have every right to have postal service off from their
Postal routes.
for the postal routes. This, it certainly wasn't just me, it was signed by 9 people. And that's just the adults that live in the neighborhood. There are also children in the neighborhood. So
Actually, written letter.
I just
You may get something.
thought the select board ought to know about it. And I copied it to the select board because, well, you know, I copied it to a bunch of others too. Anyway, that was that. Angus King's office.
Thinking back to the
If you want
Gurney
anything
Hill,
done, Angus King's office is the one to call.
What's that, Richard?
thinking back to the discussion about the Gurney Hill Road, how long does it take for for the road, for the Labrador Pond Road to get plowed out down to your place, Lee?
Not that long, generally speaking. I mean, we're not,
Well,
if the snowstorm starts in the night, we might not be plowed first thing in the morning. But, you know,
yeah,
midday,
well,
mid-afternoon, it kind of depends on when the storm started and whether it's continuing at 2 inches an hour.
considering that road doesn't go through to Labrador Pond because of the bridge out, and it doesn't look like that's ever gonna change.
Oh,
It's
well,
amazing
not
road-
anytime right
It's
off.
amazing that that road continues to be a public road. In my mind,
Shut you down.
Yeah.
No mail, no plowing.
Mhm. You're going backwards, not ahead.
what did Leanne say?
Folks in this.
So no mail and no plowing.
There you
know
go.
it.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
I think they're more
You're
on it
right.
right now because it's Christmas time. We've been getting very sporadic mail coverage at least this whole past year. In any case,
Nobody can get any help, just like Andover can't get a town clerk. And everybody's looking for people to work and nobody wants to.
For sure. The company hires people and they don't show up the very first day. They've even gone through physicals and they call out sick their first day and never show up.
yeah.
Okay, so next appointments, resignations.
Hmm? You're not doing the executive session?
Well, my recommendation would be to table that until such time as Susan has talked to MMA and also
About what?
about whether it's even a legal executive session topic.
Don't know.
Well, there
Yeah.
you go.
Well, I know Kathy said you would put an executive session and. I
That's
was
what
trying
you
to find the
wanted.
law, and the
God
impact
damn it.
was personnel, because you guys suggested that this person be an.
Yeah,
employee.
but you know something? I think we got the cart before the horse in that regard, because the truth be known, you know, yes, it was about a potential position, but in fact, this position doesn't exist.
No,
The position itself doesn't exist. And therefore, I think it would be after we have our beach workshop, whether we decide that such a position should exist.
And why do you
that-
have executive session on the agenda?
Well, I'm going to suggest that we table it and, you know, to date uncertain. You know, I mean, I don't think so. The other thing is, you know, I'm not sure that people can attend an executive session in Zoom anyway. I think people should actually be here. And that would be both the complainant and the complainee. How does that work? Complainant and complained about would have to be here for that executive session. So I mean, my feeling, I have just all kinds of feelings about this. And I just don't, I think that it's not advisable.
We haven't even decided whether we're gonna, I mean, we haven't even put together what we want to do for the beach yet.
Yeah, you know, so I think that, you know, in any case, the topic would have to come up after our beach workshop, which is,
Not
Just
beach
help me out with
It
the
wasn't
calendar.
my idea to put this on
No,
the
I-
agenda.
no, it was,
I hear you.
Rome, Maine is over by Vienna. I checked on the map.
That's what I thought. It was Rome and Vienna were next door. to
Yeah,
one.
so that's where it
Thank
is.
you for that.
I was able to get off and back on luckily. And the map shows it's over by Vienna.
So Kathy, are you moving that at this point? There's no need for an executive session at this point until we work on,
I will happily move that.
I didn't know. if she
okay,
had
I
to do
second it. Probably should wait until we get the beach policy all done. And start working on the beach itself. We can do that.
I don't see why not.
All in favor?
Wait,
Anybody second it?
was that a motion?
Mhm,
You motion to wait?
Yeah, table till date uncertain.
mhm. We start talking about beach. Anybody second it?
Did
Yeah,
you second it?
I did.
Okay, got that. out.
Sorry to everyone that I invited for this executive session. Waste your time.
Well, and I'm not clear that somebody can be invited to for an executive session
yes,
over
they
Zoom.
can if
Over
we're-
Zoom?
Is there a law against
I
that?
don't know about
No,
Zoom.
but I'm not sure, you know, I guess I'd want to know for sure that was,
It's another question.
okay, it's just another question, yeah. Yes.
That's why I
Can somebody-
created it with the
can-
waiting room, so I
Holy
can put
cow,
people in
I
the
hope
waiting
MMA
room.
likes me or will like me.
Well, they're gonna, if you're nice, they'll.
Sorry
let you,
about that, you guys.
Session.
You know,
It wasn't Leanne's fault.
No, it was not my idea.
Okay,
Okay,
What are you discussing now?
nothing.
Good, I can handle that.
Perfect.
appointments and resignations,
There's none.
none. No training,
Nope. No correspondence.
no correspondence. Good.
no correspondence? It's
Nope, not
amazing.
even yours.
Right, we didn't get it, but thank you for bringing it.
Well, there you go.
What's that?
Adjourn, yep.
And can I come over to the office and read that?
Yeah, I'll copy it for you.